something that I live by seriously is whatever everyone else is doing, I do the complete opposite. If everyone was super, no one would be.
Hey everyone, welcome to Selling with HubSpot. I'm Lucho, CEO at Digifianz, and we are here with Camden Roncka, who is a rock star at HubSpot. He's been working at HubSpot for about 3 years, and he's gotten so many amazing achievements in that time. Camden, I know you've won, I think it's Platinum Club, President's Club, Founders Club. You've got loads of achievements. You've gotten 1% attainments. And maybe you can walk us a bit through your story, like how you've had this massive success. Tell us a bit about the success you've had and how you've achieved it.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely happy to be here. Appreciate you having me on. Definitely appreciate the shout there. Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride for sure. And definitely want to give all the glory to God. It's a big part of me too, my faith and how I'm able to achieve these things for sure. But yeah, it's been a ride. A little bit of background I think it'd be interesting too, but it was my first job out of college actually. Never worked anywhere ever before. Always done my own thing, ran some businesses and things like that. But really, it's just, I think mindset's a huge part of it. I know you probably hear that quite a bit, but definitely true. Keeping your goals in mind and just learning every day. It compounds, and similar to my background and running some businesses here locally, I operate this as a business too, mentally and how I think of things, and definitely where I'd give a lot of my credit for sure.
I love it. And so you mentioned your business. There's something we were talking about the other day as well. Like you've started your own business. You run a business in parallel to doing this with HubSpot. What's your business about?
Yeah, so the one that is really the best one so far is a decking company. And I'm always doing something every year. I always try to start something, and a lot of things fail, but I always say you only really lose if you give up. So if you never give up, you keep going. That's the best one. In college, I guess I should give you some background too. It'd be interesting, but really my background, like I was that kid selling candy in school and Kool-Aid on the corner. I remember even when I was like 8 years old, there was somebody
Wow,
across.
you were young.
Yeah. Somebody across the street was selling Kool-Aid, so we had a little competitive thing from the start. So
That's
really,
awesome.
really came from doing that kind of stuff. In high school, I flipped cars and go-karts and things like that.
Go-karts, like the ones in the track?
Yeah. So
No
anything like
way.
that. Yeah.
I
So that
love
was
riding them. So
yeah, it
how
was a good
like
time.
do people have like their own go-karts?
So I was on Craigslist a lot, Facebook Marketplace. It's funny how it started. I actually bought one for fun. I just wanted one, and I bought it. And then I was like, you know what? If someone offered me this much money, I'd sell it. So I listed it, and we had it sold like before I got home. And I
No
was like, all
way.
right. And then that kind of started the whole thing, because I was like, because at the same time, my dad was like, you need to get a job, like you, all of that kind of thing. So
I feel you.
I was always like not about that, just because I'm used to forging my own path, and it just worked out. Started to buy more, and they just were selling. There's a need. Simple business. And so that was a really good spot for me. I remember I would buy, this is crazy, but I bought like 20 of them, and I like controlled the market. So I jacked the prices up
No
in the market.
way.
Yeah. So I jacked everything up because it's supply and demand. So I sold all those off. And to this day, the local go-kart market is cooked. So
That is insane. That's like the wildest story I've heard. I'm sure you're familiar. Have you ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
yeah.
It resonated a lot with your story. He's always talking about flipping things and all of that. Did you get any inspiration from him at all, or just happened?
Just kind of happened. That's the way my mind works. Even like in elementary school, when I would sell candy, it was like just a weird thing. You don't really have a concept of money yet. But for me, it was like, because I remember it was like, I can take this thing and sell it and get more back. So that's from a young mind. That's as far as it went. But that's really what's fueled me for sure. I just think of that.
That is so amazing. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone who was, well, flipping things that age, selling candy. It brings the question. Do you think there was anything like in your upbringing or anything like that? Because I want to have kids someday, and I want to show them how to do things like that. So I want to replicate that. Like, how do you think that idea got in your head?
Yeah, I'm a man of many opinions for sure, but that's one of my strong opinions. Is I think my upbringing had everything to do with it, honestly. So the way my dad was raised too, same way he raised me. And he has resources, and it's not like I grew up with nothing, but he didn't give me anything at all. And it's funny because when I was younger, I used to be like upset about it because all the other kids were given things. And I grew up in a pretty wealthy area here. And so people were driving Alfa Romeos to school and like all of this. And I had a beater, like 97, barely ran, way out of place. And I was always like not happy at the time because I was like, this is unfair. This is unfair. This is why are things like this. But that's why I'm like the way I am now, because I had to go through failure, go through those things. So I'm a huge proponent on that. I feel everyone's capable, but if you put people in situations, like people, you're capable of so much, like much more than you would ever know. And most people don't find out what they're capable of. And when you really have nothing, like you can do everything. I love fighting from a place of the underdog. I don't being the top dog. I actually like being the underdog. That's like my roots, but it's because you have nothing to lose. And like you have to get creative. You have to get scrappy. That's really what I like and what drives me. So I always try to embrace that and get to that underdog mentality, like hungry dogs run the fastest. And yeah, everything's blossomed from that. Even post college, like I had to pay for everything, like gas, insurance, like literally everything. And so I couldn't do it. And in college, like I had to pay for that. Like I couldn't afford it. And no one could help me. I like maxed out grants and I was screwed. Like I couldn't even work. I couldn't even go get a job and I still couldn't make enough money. Like I could go work at Walmart or something. Wasn't going to work. So I was like, got to figure it out. Like that's the whole thing. You got to figure it out. So how did I figure it out? I don't know. You just do things. That's the thing. Like when you're in those positions, you just find a way. So for me, I started that decking business in college and I had no idea what I was doing at all. Like none, but you can learn. And we did, and we failed a lot. But that's the way. And even in college, Mark Cuban style, we had a party house that we were renting out. So it's always been part of the plan for sure.
Dude, I absolutely love it. Man, you're preaching to the choir. I'm all about getting out of your comfort zone. And I think that's exactly what happened to you. Like your dad, he could have given you all the comforts in the world, but he chose not to because that would force you were in a very uncomfortable situation. So you had to find a way to fight through that and get what you wanted. So I absolutely love that because if you're comfortable, you're just going to slouch. You're just going to stay. Everything's cool where you are. You get everything handed to you. So why should you change? But if you're in a position where you want something and you don't have it, then you need to fight for it. And then you become that underdog. And man, I just love that story. I think that's really awesome.
And it's interesting too, though, because it's like, it's not like I wanted to, no one wants to be in that position. Like I wasn't like, let's go. The opposite. I was like, this sucks. But that's where like the magic happens for sure. There's that one story. I don't know if it's true or what is it that the Spartans or the Roman babies were thrown in a barrel of wine or something, and like from birth they had to survive. And so that's obviously extreme.
I didn't know that. I know the agoge. Like the Spartans had the agoge. I think it was when they turned 13. The Spartans were cast off like into the mountain. I mean, they've been training since they were born, basically, to be soldiers. When they were 13, I think they were just cast off into the mountain with a spear, and that's it. And they would have to survive. I think it was for like 3 days or a week or something like that. And oftentimes they just wouldn't come back. They would die. They would get eaten by wolves, or winter would get them. Like just the elements. But if they came back, they would come back as Spartan grown-ups, as Spartan adults, as Spartan soldiers.
And everything changes. I mean, that's like the thing. Like once I finally was like, all right, like I have no choice. I have to do this. Like I said, it wasn't just something it was a position I was almost forced into figuring it out. But once you do, then it snaps. Like for me, like something changed, and like I've had that ever since. So that's my like personal stance. I think that it's hard to. And this is definitely an opinion of mine, but I don't know. I feel like it's maybe a hot take, and I don't have kids, so I don't know what I don't know. But it's like, for me, I feel like you have kids and you want to give them a good life, obviously. Like you want to give them especially maybe what you didn't have. Like you want to give them a good life. It's your child. But there's a fine line like between that, in my opinion. Giving them hardship is actually what's best for them. And that's like the hard part of that. That's just my personal opinion, but I think there's a ton of truth to it. I think there's so many stories of people that had nothing or came from. That's usually just breeds an interesting type of person.
Absolutely, man. And I'm totally with you there. When I have my kids, I'm not going to give them everything. I want them to fight for things. And so I'm a hardcore radical. I'm even going to have them like, they need to achieve something to get a meal. I'm really going to push them, but I'm a crazy guy. I'm living out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. I'm chopping wood every day. I have like electric stoves and whatnot, but I'm chopping wood because I don't want to use that. I want to be more self-reliant.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the way. Like my dad always lended a hand. Of you want to flip go-karts, like I'll go help you pick them up. But there was no money, no, like it was, I'll help you, but you're not going to get any handouts kind of thing.
Love it. It's more training. I'll train you, but I'm not going to give you the results.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Love it. And so Camden, now bringing that onto your HubSpot experience and your HubSpot career, how do you bring that into your day-to-day? How does that help you achieve your sales goals? Do you try to play with the sales in a way that positions you as the underdog? I know you like being in the underdog position. So do you do something there to put yourself in the underdog position? Or do you organize yourself in a way that's like drawing from your experience flipping cars and go-karts and whatnot?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Something I always say and live by. I'm not going to get into the details on like how I sell it, but I can't really share all the secrets. But something that I live by seriously is whatever everyone else is doing, I do the complete opposite. That's something I've always done. And I swear by it. I just do. I really do. Because in the world of everyone's the same, like I always also mention The Incredibles quote. I love that movie growing up. If everyone was super, no one would be. So if everyone was a superhero, then nobody would be, right? It's the same thing. So whatever everyone else is doing, you want to go with that. Like it's human nature, but I try to do the opposite just because it really makes you different. And there's a lot of good and bad things that can come with that. But again, that's just who I am. I really ingrain that with how I do business here and also how I do business in general, for sure.
I love it. Then I think I'm paraphrasing someone, but I don't know who. This thing came up. No one ever became extraordinary by doing ordinary things.
For sure.
I have no idea who said that, but but yeah, it sounds like that's like your mindset. Like whatever everyone else is doing, you're doing something else, and it just makes sense because where everybody's at, that's just going to be noise. You don't want to fish where all the fishermen are at. Sure, it's proven that they get fish there, but maybe there's a bigger catch out there somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's being creative. You can draw so many parallels to sports. I didn't play sports growing up, but it's interesting too. Like you see patterns of this, right? Like tush push. No one's doing that. They hammered it. People want to ban it. It's so good.
What's tush push?
Yeah, the Eagles, where Jalen Hurts gets down, and they can get to anywhere from 1 to 4 yards by it's a new play. And no one was doing it, right? And then you look at Ben Johnson on the Lions, who's now on the Bears. He started doing plays that no one was doing because they were insane. Like people are like, this is insane. Like, we're not doing this. He did it, and they boomed. So it's just constant like examples of that. And yes, I'm looking for confirmation bias for what I do, but I look at those things and I see them, and it's always interesting to me because there's so many examples of that. Even Bryson DeChambeau in golf. I don't play golf or watch golf, but again, like dude hit the gym to try to hit further, and no one else is doing that. He put all of his clubs the same height because he thinks that makes a difference, and it does. And so again, like people just finding creative ways. That's what moves the needle.
I love it, man. Yeah, I really want to look into that now. That sounds fascinating. And one thing that reminded me of that is the shark skin, when they started using shark skin in swimming and whatnot. But yeah, there's loads of examples. I think we talked with David Torres about like moving jiu-jitsu where they went after the knee in MMA, then nobody was using it, but then everybody started using it. Yeah, it's something that gives you the edge when you innovate. You're first to come, first to think of that, or even you don't have to be the very first one, but if you're amongst the first ones to do it, that's going to set you apart.
Yeah, there's a million examples. American Revolution, there we're not going to stand in a line and shoot. We're going to hide behind the trees and be scrappy. We're Napoleon, we're not going to just outforce the opponent. We're going to maneuver and be quick. Millions of examples, but I love those stories for sure.
Absolutely love it. And one thing you mentioned at the very beginning, so you thank God, and I think that we haven't talked about God at all in this podcast, and I just found that fascinating, and that it's the first time. I've been working a lot on my faith and developing it as well. Could you tell me a bit about what sort of inspiration you've had there? Is there anything that you can particularly say that, yeah, my faith has really helped me achieve this? Or in what role has your faith played in your performance as a salesperson?
Yeah, everything. Always try to do what's right. Always look to God for answers and direction, and He's got me here. Can't complain there for sure. But it's not from me at all. So it's the position that I've been in by taking opportunities that I pray about come to me, things like that. But again, yeah, all of everything for sure.
Love it, man. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And one thing that I find has really helped me with that is just having an appreciation mindset in general. So I was agnostic for a long time, and the way I found faith was accidentally. I started doing a little mental exercise every day where I said thank you, wrote 10 things I was thankful for, and 10 things that I wanted to see change, and 10 things that I could do. And that slowly evolved into me having faith. But even before that faith came, I had a lot of anxiety, and just doing that exercise and having that appreciative mindset of being grateful for something really, I don't know, it took hold of me, and it reduced my anxiety radically. And that just helped me in every aspect of life.
Yeah, no, agreed. I definitely agreed. And yeah, for those listening to, give it a try. I like the book of John to start. It's a good book. I knew about the faith growing up, but never was really into it too much until a few years ago. But yeah, definitely like a big difference for sure. A lot of things too, like mindset as well, like reading Philippians right now, and something that's cool there. Paul is talking about basically like he's in jail, and like people they put him in jail because they're hating on him for believing, and like he's in there and they're trying to make his life hell and all these things, and he's in there and he's, so what, this is good. And like it's a mindset thing. And he even goes as far, this is a crazy statement, but he says, should I die? That might be better, because then he gets to go to heaven. Or should I stay? Worse for me, better for you. That's how I'll know I'll stay. And he did, and he survived that. But it's, nothing to lose mindset too. Like you can go as far as your mind will take you. This is another crazy thing. This is a little bit borderline delusional for sure, that I just do these weird things, but I'll put you guys onto some sauce. The Mind of Man Can Lift Anything video on YouTube. Used to watch that every day as a BDR. Every single day. Yeah.
The Mind of Man, what was it?
The Mind of Man Can Lift Anything by Grave Mind. The
Mind of Man Can Lift Anything. We'll put that in the captions or something. I'm definitely going to look that up. Yeah.
That's part of the secret archives for sure. I haven't shared that to many people because it's part of the secret sauce, but there you go.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. And I mean, that's a really great thing. Like, so do you have that? Was that a ritual that you had like pre-sales, or is that something you still do? I find that one thing I try to do before like any important sales call or anything is like, I do like body poses, like the champion, or like a Superman pose, or like smile. And that changes you up a bit, like things to hype you up. Like I fight as well. Like I do Krav Maga, so whenever I'm about to get into a fight, I want to pump myself up.
I used to fight too, but dislocated my shoulder doing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it happens. Well, or we can talk about that a bit. I've had my dislocated shoulder as well, loads of exercises, but you can recover. But yeah, there's something about that hype, and it really changes your mindset before you go into a call, before you go into a meeting, anything that has an impact in how it turns out. And what was it? The Power of Man?
The Mind of Man.
The Mind of Man. Was this the Mind of Man? Was that something you did like before, like at the beginning of the day? Like how did that play into your routine?
Yeah. So I actually have no idea how I found that video, but I found it when I was a BDR, and I listened to it every morning. And still to this day, I will listen to it once a month. Yeah, because it's like, again, it's all mental. Like, it's all mental, at least to me. Same thing here. Like, I could miss a 0% quota, you gotta keep moving on. There's nothing guaranteed here. That could happen to me, could happen to you, could happen to anybody. You have to keep going. And it's like I like to zoom out too. If you're on a whatever quota you're on, yes, same like a football game, there's 4 quarters. If you're down by a lot in the 4th quarter, yeah, it might be easy to give up, right? Because there's 1 minute left, you're down by 4 touchdowns. I mean, yeah, but if you zoom out, right, imagine you have 4 more quarters. So mentally, it's all mental gymnastics. So now if you extend it and you now have 4 more quarters, but you're in the same position, now I can win, right? Now I can actually come back when it's the same situation. Yeah, that's how I try to dice it up for sure. Because nothing's guaranteed. Every month, never know.
I love that, dude. And yeah, man, game's not over till it's over. But even when the game's over, you can still win the championship. There's going to be another game. You can always learn from it and come back. Yeah, dude, mindset is crucial. And have you had some like down months or down quarters?
Yeah, of course. Nobody's special. Not perfect at all, obviously. Yeah, and they suck just like everybody, but it's good to have those.
It's
like
a
I
learning
said,
experience.
Failure is good. It is, and failure, it sucks in the moment, but it's a good thing.
Love it. Yeah, if you're not failing, you're not really aiming high enough.
Definitely.
Yeah, dude, I love it. This is a really awesome conversation, and there's a lot of the Bible in that as well. I've been doing. There's this cool podcast, the Bible in a Year podcast.
Yep.
So I've been reading the Bible. I'm in like day 300 so far. And even if you're like, because probably a lot of people listening to this they don't have faith, they might be agnostic, atheist, or anything. But I think there's something interesting, like some truth to it, whether you believe in it or not, from a sociological perspective, even. And the storylines that follow there's so much failure there, so many times. The characters were in the Bible, whether they were real or not, I believe they were real. But even if you don't, like, it's Western society was built on this. And there's a lesson to be learned there, is that through so much failure, as long as you keep moving forward, eventually things turn out better. And kind of, if you go back to the foundational story, like the story of Abraham, man, Abraham was just wandering around the desert for eternity almost.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how long he was just wandering, looking for the promised land. But the thing is, he kept moving. He didn't give up. And he didn't even reach it. He was just like wandering. And then his descendants kept wandering, looking for the promised land and so on. And it's this story of aiming for something, but also not staying in that comfort zone, not staying chill where you are and just happy to have whatever. Like, gratefulness is a big thing, but it's also, you need to be grateful, but you also need to aim for something, and you need to get out of that comfort zone and try to do what's right, and try to find your calling, find your destiny. Like, you're called to do something greater, so go for that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Having faith too. Like, I'd go as far as to say, yeah, this is also crazy, but if I missed my number for a whole year, worst case scenario, like, it's for a reason. That's as crazy as I am, for sure, but I believe that too. Whatever's supposed to happen, then that's just how it goes.
And it's crazy how you learn from that. Like, in your worst point in life, like 3 years down the road, you might think, man, that was actually my turning point. That was where I learned my most important lesson. And
no doubt.
Yeah, for me, one of my most foundational experiences was I broke my foot in half, and I was basically like in a pirate's leg for 5 months. My leg totally atrophied, and it was horrible. Like, I experienced life as a handicapped person, and I got to see things like from a handicapped person's perspective that it was just a little window for me, but it was shocking and it was traumatizing, but it also helped solidify my mindset of, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to keep training. I went to the park with my kettlebells, with my pirate's leg.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And it just built me up. And from that, it led me to believe that, man, I can really do amazing things. I've been through this. I can go through some bigger challenges now.
Yeah.
Like, it almost broke me, but in the end, I think it's one of the things that the experiences that made me. When you're having some really down times, if you just keep pushing and you don't break, your mindset will build, and you're going to get amazing lessons from that.
Yeah, definitely with you there.
Love it. All right, Camden, I kind of ranted there for a bit, but yeah, now bringing it back to HubSpot, any advice, any strong advice you would have, a final advice that you would have for someone, say someone who's joining your team, someone who's new, you want to coach them, you want to show them how to do like, how to get their quota by the end of the month. You want to show them how to work on their mindset so that they don't break apart if they don't reach their quota. What advice would you give them? Someone who's starting out.
Yeah, I always say I'm nobody special. If I could do it, you trust me, you could figure it out. I'm not the smartest dude, no doubt. Like I said, I'm not some like industry plant or know a bunch of stuff. Like it's none of that. I'd say, yeah, what the mind can believe it can achieve. So it sounds cliche, but if you believe that, step one. And then, more granularly, like you got to have a process. That's for anything in life. Find what works for you. For the gym, like some people can go to the gym 7 days a week. Good for those people. It's not me. It might be you. Sounds like you're pretty in shape and with that. Find what works for you, right? Like for me, I've tried a bunch of different things, fail, but you got to find what works for you. What works for me might be different from what works from someone else, but be true to who you are, find that niche, do it, and believe you can.
Love it, man. Love it. That's a great closing idea. So yeah, I mean, try things out and be willing to fail. So
yeah,
super cool. Awesome. Camden, thanks for joining us today. And thanks everyone for listening. And yeah, if you have any questions, any thoughts on the podcast, feel free to ask and I'll share your questions and thoughts with Camden. So
cool.
Super.
Good deal. Yeah. Appreciate
Thanks,
you
everyone.
having me on.
Thanks, Camden.
Yep. See ya.